There's a party that wants to call him out, right? Like you want to tell him what's happened because you've read articles, you've seen the patterns, you've watched him spin the truth, twist your words, rewrite reality, and part of you wants to scream, I see you and I know exactly what you are. You're a narcissist, you're toxic, you're abusive. But I need you to hear this. Calling him out isn't going to fix anything. Welcome back here today. I'm Ben Taylor, and you're here probably trying to make sense of the emotional chaos that you've been living in. Narcissistic abuse isn't just confusion. It's a systematic dismantling of your identity. And today I want to talk to you about something that most people will get wrong, thinking that exposing the narcissist will somehow set you free and help everything to shift. And it won't. So instead of screaming in the void and giving him more fuel, I'm going to give you 6 clear, powerful alternatives to calling him out. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about when my wife called me out. My wife called me out and we were standing in the kitchen and there was a piece of me that had this moment of self-awareness of like, something's different about me. Like I remember it very vividly. We were in our house in Virginia and we were thinking through and I was kind of talking about like, I just don't care about people. Like I don't care about you. I don't care about other people. Like it was a very unique conversation in the moment. And I paused for a moment. I was like, maybe I'm a sociopath or something. And so we looked it up, and whenever we looked it up, we read through it, and we were kind of like, that doesn't really connect. And my wife already knew what I was at that point, and she was like, no, I think you might be a narcissist. And I was like, huh. I was like, let me look it up. So I looked it up, and I read through it, and I was like, this doesn't even describe me at all. What are you talking about? And she was like, okay, because she knew it was going to get really bad if she kept saying that I was. But instead of just leaving it there, I made sure to tell her multiple times that I wasn't, made sure to make her feel stupid that she would even think that, and also went to friends, family, and people around us being like, can you believe what my wife just called me? Like, I'm not a narcissist. Do you think I'm a narcissist? And started to gather people onto my side. It even gathered people onto my side that would go back to her and be like, why do you think Ben's a narcissist? Right? Silly things like that to try to make sure I was in control. So let's talk about a couple things today. First off, simple but very short is don't call him out. Like it sounds really simple, but it's not because there's a deep piece inside of you that just wants justice. Want him to see it, want him to have his karma, wants him to acknowledge the damage that he's done to you. But calling him out is trying to teach a snake to bark. Like it's not going to happen. Like I always say to people, like if he's not willing to be honest, that he's a liar, that he's hurt you, that this is happening. Like, you're never going to get him to admit that he's a narcissist. You're never going to get him to admit the big things. Like, if he can't admit that he has a hangnail, he's not going to cop to the fact that he has cancer, right? It's going to be like, nope, that doesn't exist in my world. And the thing is, you keep trying to do this to try to get him to understand or try to get him to wake up, and it doesn't do anything. Calling him out just becomes another entry point for him to be able to rage, to gaslight, twist the narrative, and leave you doubting yourself again, being like, well, that wasn't safe. I guess I shouldn't have done that. And instead of justice, you end up just in more pain, more circular conversations, more exhaustion. So the first step is like, stop giving him access. Save your energy. You need that energy for healing. Don't waste time trying to talk to a wall that doesn't care about you, that's not responding, and doesn't have that reasoning. He's not willing to see it. The second thing inside of this, you have to understand there's a pattern here. Don't fight it, study it. A lot of women get trapped here because you finally wake up to the abuse and you're trying to be able to fight it. You learn about narcissism and something inside you lights up. This is it. You feel empowered for the first time in forever and you want to expose that and use that clarity to expose him. Don't. Because often what will happen is you will use that energy to expose him and he will use that information to come back and attack you. He'll use that information to twist it inside of couples counseling. Use that information, all of a sudden, 2 weeks or 6 months down the road, he's like, I think you're a narcissist. I feel emotionally unsafe around you. And all of a sudden what you've done is you've given him actually like the feed to the fire, and now he actually knows how to be able to turn around and manipulate you. But instead, use that energy to understand, not to attack. Use it to make decisions that serve you. Do you stay? Do you leave? Do you set boundaries? Do you prepare for a court? Like what it is. Like you need to make sure that you're in clarity, not chaos. Studying the patterns gives you power. Reacting to him gives him power. Do you see that? I'm going to say it again. Understanding the patterns gives you power. Reacting to him gives him power. Okay, so understand that that's part of the key. He's trying to get you to react. The third thing here is to master the art of gray rocking. Like being able to gray rock is massive. This isn't just about being cold, it's about survival. Gray rock means you become emotionally unavailable to him. You don't share your dreams, you don't defend your emotions, you don't react when he's poking and prodding at you. It means you're slowing it down and talking in closer, short word answers. Like you talk about the weather, you talk about the neighbor's flowers, about traffic, anything but you. Because anything you say about you, anything you're discussing and talking about inside of you, you are giving him things to twist and to hurt you. Gray rocking isn't just a technique, it's oftentimes armor. It can be a protective shell that shields your peace from the war that he's bringing to you. And at first it'll feel weird. That'll feel awkward, it'll feel cold, it'll feel fake because you're going to miss a connection. But inside of this relationship, when did you ever feel connected to someone who is mocking your pain and beating you down? Now understand, word of warning here. Gray rocking works, I say 50% of the time, maybe 75%. But what I've seen a lot of times is if you've already seen how he gets aggressive when you go quiet, be careful. It might not be the best solution, might not be the best option. You could still have conversations, just keep it away from you. Don't just keep it short word answers if that's going to make him rage more. We're not trying to give you tools to make the abuse worse. Does that make sense? All right, so the fourth thing here is I want to help you level up with what we call firewalling. This is something that goes a little bit deeper than gray rocking, and we haven't really talked about this at the top. Inside of this, firewalling means there's a hard stop around your emotional core. It's almost like a boundary. It'd be like a boundary of saying like, hey, you can go this far, but you can't move past this. It means he doesn't get access to that emotional core of you, who you actually are on the inside. Not even with small talk, like not even with like small conversations that you have. You can be polite, you can be warm, you can be nice, but your truth, your vulnerability, your triggers, they are locked down around him and they are not safe to be out. You might say something like, I'm good, thanks, and smile. It's going to be hard because behind that smile is a firewall. He's not getting in. He's not getting in today. He's not getting in ever. You have to be able to have some boundaries and you have to be able to have some walls up so you can protect you. The other piece inside of this, the fifth thing is you got to find your circle. You got to find a real one of other people that are going to support you. It means you can't just do this alone. And I don't just mean getting into therapy, because therapy oftentimes can still leave you isolated. I mean finding other people who actually get it. Friends who don't gaslight you of like, he seems so nice, maybe you should. Like get around other coaches, online communities, like even other people that have walked the same path and the same fire and have made it out. Because you're going to need places to process what you can't say to him. You're going to need a way to be able to work through the triggers and the emotions that you can't say to him. And oftentimes the hard part is a therapist doesn't always understand narcissistic abuse. You might have to find one who does or find a community that does. If your friends and family make you question your reality, well, then you have to put them in your emotional firewall and say like, hey, I need this person to be over here because I need to protect myself. This is why everything inside of Raw Motivations, we bring people into groups because you have to be able to see other people that have already healed from this. You have to be able to interact with other people that know exactly the pain that you're going through so that you don't feel alone and you don't feel like you're the crazy one. You're not. You're human and you've been led to this by a toxic person. So with the people that are around you, you don't need more confusion. You need clarity and you need the right people to help you find it. The sixth thing inside of this is simply just radical acceptance. This is one of the hardest things for people to be able to see, and it gets really real here. Because radical acceptance doesn't mean approving it or approving what he's done. It doesn't mean saying, it's okay that he hurt me. It means looking at the situation and finally saying, this is who he is, and this is what the relationship is, this is what he's done, and he's not going to change. And that reality hurts, but that's the truth. And that's the hard reality that you have to hear. That's why a lot of times I'll say on social media, he doesn't care about you. Why? Because I'm trying to use that as an interrupt to have you wake up and actually see that he doesn't care about you by his actions. There's no evidence that he actually loves you, cares, respects, honors you. Why? Because of how he's treating you. Once you stop hoping that he's suddenly going to wake up and change for you, once you stop waiting for an apology that's never coming, you can finally start focusing on you, your own peace, your own growth. Radical acceptance allows you to stop engaging in this back and forth tug of war between him that always ends on you being back on your knees, apologizing for bleeding after he's the one that stabbed you. Let me throw in this for just good measure. Like, I want you to understand. Distraction. Yeah, I said distraction. Pick up something that's going to help you in the moment to distract you from that interaction. Pick up yarn, bake something, go for a run, binge your favorite show, like anything that redirects your urge to engage with him. Now, are those maybe long-term? They might not be long-term situations, but they might be short-term coping till you find the actual coping tools that help you. This is why when women come to Raw Motivations, they're like, hey, I'm coping in this way. I'm like, that's great. You found something that's working for you right now. Now let's give you a tool that actually helps you process it and release it so you don't have to rely on something that actually might hurt you. Because when you feel this desire, the desire that comes up and you're like, it rises up inside of you, and it will every single time, there's like something is like, I need to do something that gives me a redirect, okay, that pauses you for a couple minutes, okay? So I want you to understand, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel the energy. You're going to feel the fire building around you. Go walk it off. Let it pass. Let it move through you. And when it does, you'll be proud of yourself for not handing him the match to light another emotional wildfire in your life and destroy you piece by piece. So take some time, redirect. The truth inside of this is you can call him out. You absolutely can. Like, it's 100% possible. It's your choice. It's your right to be able to call him out. It's your voice. But just know that he won't hear you. And just know that he doesn't care. Just like I communicated earlier, I would twist my wife's words, I would weaponize her emotions, I would use her truth against her, I would find other people to support my story, to validate my story. I didn't reflect, I didn't connect, I would rage, I wouldn't take ownership, I would play the victim. And suddenly, you're in the place that you're now unstable. You're the dramatic one. Because you're like, no, I need him to see this, I need him to understand. You're the one that had to leave because you were toxic. Right? He's going to paint this picture of you. When you leave a toxic relationship, you never leave the toxic relationship looking like the good guy. Like, just face it. Like, you're going to go through a divorce process. You're going to be like, I have to leave this person. He's going to make you look like the bad guy. He has to in order for him to survive. He has to make himself feel better. People are like, well, I don't want to have a messy divorce. Well, sorry, it's not going to happen. Unless he has another person, another affair partner that's pulling him out of the relationship faster than you can get out, it's going to be messy. And you're going to look like the bad guy. He's going to bait you. He's going to try to control you. Like, he's not going to change just because you finally said the right words. Everybody looks for this. Everybody comes and they come to Raw Motivations. They're like, what made you change? And underneath the surface, because almost every time we dive deeper, underneath the surface, people are like, what do I need to say to my partner to get him to wake up just like you did? The reality is, the biggest impact that my wife had on my life to promote any type of change, because my change and my transformation had nothing to do with her. Any piece of that, the biggest piece, was her walking away. Taking my daughter, moving out of state, going almost virtually no contact, except for when we had to talk about her daughter. But she left. She healed. And she left me sitting in all of the shit that I created, and left me there without anyone else to blame. There's nothing else that I could shift or shame because I was alone. The hard part inside of this is many times people are looking for the right words, the magic potion, or the wand that they can wave to shift and make this guy transform. Sometimes they'll look at me on social media and they're like, but you changed, maybe he can change. Yeah, he can, if he's willing to be honest. But if you have a guy that's a liar and he's not willing to be honest about himself, not willing to be honest about what he's done, not willing to admit what's actually happened, you don't have a relationship and you need to leave. Stop waiting for a magic key just to be able to find how to make him transform. And see this, if he does change, it'll be for the new woman, for the next audience, for the next show, for the next thing he's going to put out there, because it was never about the truth. It was always about power, control of his image, of how he had to look, of how he had to be, of how he had to show up. So let's talk about what happens when you do call him out. When you do say, hey, this is who you are. This is what's going on. You lay it all out. You name, this is manipulation. This is lying. This is rage. This is gaslighting, silent treatments. You think, maybe if I just get it out, he'll finally understand. He'll have a light bulb moment. He'll figure it out and he'll apologize and we'll get back together. It'll be great. And he doesn't. But instead he flips it. You're too sensitive. You always react. You're crazy thinking that this is it. He brings up all of these different things and he's like, I don't remember. He turns around so well and you walk away questioning your own sanity once again. This is the trap. This is the cycle. This is the piece that you go in. Calling out a narcissist is a battle that he's already been trained for. He's been preparing for it his own life. Not with truth, not with growth, but with tactics, projection, denial, deflection, darvo, gaslighting, everything. Like a psychological jujitsu, and you never walk away the winner because he flips it around. He switches it up on you. Calling him out really isn't about him. It's about you wanting to be seen, heard, validated. It's you screaming into the void, you hurt me and I need you to care. But you need to understand something really clear. He's not you. He doesn't think like you. He doesn't act like you. He doesn't process things like you. So you think, if I can get him to understand, because if I understood I hurt someone, I would feel bad. He doesn't think the same way as you. So you need to wake up to this reality. Because you're wasting your voice on someone who's emotionally bankrupt. Use your voice to set yourself free. Calling him out doesn't free you. It fuels him. It gives him more power, more control. Like, you want to hurt him the way that he hurt you? Yeah, good luck. He doesn't hurt the same way. He doesn't respond the same way. You're like, maybe I can emotionally cut him the same way. Good luck. He doesn't have that piece of emotion out. Like, you want him to feel what he's done? You want him to hurt? Then heal. Do the one thing that feels countercultural to everything you might have heard, thought, or feel inside of you. Because the biggest revenge on a narcissist isn't an emotional monologue. It's not calling him out. It's not exposing him into his friends and family. It's not sharing his patterns to the entire world. The biggest revenge, the biggest piece of you stepping up in power, is stepping back and disappearing from his game completely. He doesn't deserve a front row seat to your transformation. You become indifferent to him and you become transformative about you. Now, there might be a lie that you're holding on to, and I've heard this a number of times. But if I don't say something, aren't I enabling him? Aren't I letting him continue? I'm not calling him out. No. You not engaging doesn't enable him. You yelling, crying, chasing, calling him out, that enables him. That feeds him. It gives him more evidence to call you unstable, more ammo to twist the story, more fuel to keep you entangled in all of his drama. You going silent, that starves him. Because the only real consequence he ever might even feel aren't your words, they're your absence. They're your boundaries. They're your indifference to him. Your clarity, your silence. And when you stop playing the game, the power dies. The only reason why the narcissist is winning in your life right now is because you're playing the game. You're playing the game to a game that he always changes the rules, so he's always the winner no matter what. We see this in our 5-year-old right now. We'll play a game and she'll be like, don't like that I'm losing. I won. Well, we'll play the game of like, okay, let's race. And she's like, we'll race to that tree. Be like, well, then I get there first. And she's like, well, it was the person who got there last that wins. Yeah, we have some work to do. I'm not saying any of this piece here inside of this is easy. It's not. The pull to speak your truth, it becomes primal. You want closure. You want justice. You want him to own it. So you have the validation that you're heard. But narcissistic rage isn't emotional, it's just dangerous. You might have kids, coworkers, other people in your circle calling him out could bring collateral damage. You know what he does when he feels cornered, how he explodes, how he might blame, how he might burn everything around himself just to protect himself. That's not a storm you want to stand in. And it's not a storm you need to stand in. You don't need that to heal. You've already spent years trying to survive the fallout of this toxic guy. Why don't we focus on your healing? Why don't we focus on you moving forward? Because the narcissistic rage that comes from this is not just triggering. It's traumatizing. It can slow down. It can set back some of your healing because it might activate old wounds. It can make you physically sick. Like, stop pretending it's worth it just to speak your mind because he doesn't care. He's not worth your peace. He's not worth your progress. He's not worth the investment of time and energy for you to say, hey, this is what happened. And he sure hell isn't worth your breakdown. So what do you need to do instead? You have to preserve yourself. You have to insulate. You have to protect your mind, your heart, and your nervous system from this toxic guy. You treat him like a virus that you've already been exposed to, and now you're building immunity. You're working on growing, developing who you are, which means you stop explaining. You stop defending yourself. You stop hoping and wondering, is he going to change? If you tell him something and you start rebuilding your world without him in the center of it. You learn to start focusing on you. Telling yourself yes instead of telling everyone else yes and yourself no. Most people don't want to see this and don't want to admit this right away. There's no justice in this type of relationships of you getting this satisfying conclusion, the final gotcha moment where he breaks down and says, you were right, I was toxic, I hurt you, I'm sorry. He doesn't give a shit. That moment doesn't exist. And all you do is you hope and you pray for that moment to happen while your healing runs away. You sit there waiting for him to change, waiting for him to transform. And while you're waiting, the train of healing is still chugging along in the opposite direction and you're not on it. Because you're thinking, maybe I can get him to figure it out. But I need you to understand, you have to stop holding out for this change to happen in him. I'm not saying this because it's pessimism, and I'm not saying that because he can't change and I can't. I'm not saying that. If he's not willing to be honest and actually deal with the honesty piece, he's never going to admit he's a narcissist. If he's not actually owning up to what he's done, he's never going to work on it even farther. The reality inside of this is you have to see this. The radical acceptance of what sets you free. I'm not here to judge you if you've already called him out. That's what my wife did. That's what I went back and forth. All of these different things. All you're going to do is exhaust yourself. Every time you get reactive, he gets more control. Learn from all of this. Learn from people that have come before you. Don't repeat the same cycle. If you've already called him out now and you're feeling the backlash of it, don't beat yourself up. You didn't know. You're human. You're trying to get clarity in the midst of chaos, and it's okay. Just don't make it a pattern. Pull back, start to work on you. If you really want to say something, write it out, burn it, journal it, speak it into your phone, tell a therapist, tell a tree, sit in your car and scream, but don't tell him because he doesn't deserve the truth. He only weaponizes it. He flips it around and smacks you in the face with it. So instead of speaking that truth into people, instead of speaking into him who doesn't care, speak it to people who are going to hold it with care, with compassion. And most importantly, people that are actually going to see and understand, believe, because that's what you've been missing for far too long. Somebody who actually sees you and gets you, understands you, and believes you. I say that because I know that there's someone out there that needs to see it and believe it. I believe you. I see you. And I know how hard it is to live in a world where he shows you one face in public and a different one behind closed doors. I know you're there doubting your own memory. You're walking on eggshells. You're shrinking yourself every single day just to keep the peace. I've seen it. I've caused it. And now I'm fighting like hell to help women like you finally break free. Mentally, emotionally, physically. You don't need to call them out. You don't need to waste your time arguing with crazy. You need to call yourself back. Back to who you are. Back to your intuition. Back to your healthy boundaries. Back to your voice. And back to your truth, back to your worth. You don't need his apology for closure. Closure comes from you. You need your healing, the radical acceptance of what has already happened. And if you're ready for that, if you're done dancing in circles and finally ready to take back your power, I want to invite you to do something for you. Schedule a free call with me. We'll walk through your story, through your pain, through your patterns, and we'll help map a path forward that's grounded in clarity and truth that brings you to confidence. A life where you don't just survive his abuse, but you actually rise beyond it. You're not crazy. You're not hopeless. You're not alone. You're not too dramatic. You're conditioned to believe the lies in your life that he put on you. So let's break the cycle. You can do this at rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Schedule a free call. Watch a video, fill an application so I know a little bit about you, book a call. We'll dig deep, we'll expose truth and help you rise without ever needing to call him out again, without ever needing to confront him, because you are worth so much more than just a reaction to him. You're worth rebuilding. You're worth growing and developing and rising. Let's go. You've been told it's all your fault and that makes you feel crazy. No one understands you and that leaves you in a place of being alone. You've tried to break free multiple times and that leaves you helpless because nothing you've done has actually worked. It hasn't actually got you free or liberated from this toxic relationship. So you feel crazy, alone, and hopeless. Guess what? That's a lie. Because all it is how you've been raised and conditioned inside of this abusive relationship over and over. And as a result, you've sacrificed your growth, you've sacrificed your worth, and you've been trapped inside of a toxic relationship. What if I showed you the path to freedom? A way for you to actually get free mentally and emotionally from the toxicity that's happening right here, right now. You deserve more. You deserve to be able to heal. And I want to help you with that.
If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough, schedule a call there, and let's talk.